Presai. Welcome. The All Progressives Congress is asking the people of Edo State to prepare for better life as they support the party and its candidate in the September 19 election. The candidate, Pastor Sagi Izayamu, says he will make the state great again if given the mandate. Ogochukwu Ona reports.
Absolutely the best.
It was a gathering of supporters from the nooks and crannies of the state. Right from the entrance of the venue to the sports complex, different groups registered their presence in solidarity with the party. The chairman, caretaker committee of the party, May Malabuni, presented the candidates to the people.
We are here to take back our mandate, to take back our state. 4 years ago, we were here, we have voted for APC, but we have no doubt in our minds we are going to vote for APC and return our mandate back to the state. From hamlet to hamlet, from village to village, from town to town, and within metropolitan Benin. From the crowd we have seen, we have to conclude that this election will be won by APC.
Pastor Sagi Izayamu assured the people that they have nothing to worry about, as it will be progress all the way for them if voted in.
Let me assure you, never again will we have a governor as an ingrate. We will have a governor that will respect the Edo people.
Amen.
A governor that will develop our states. A governor that will empower our people. And by the grace of God, I will do it.
The message from the immediate past national chairman of the party and former governor of the state, Adams Oshomole, is that the party's flag bearer will right the wrongs.
The business of governors and of government to empower the poor and elevate them to a position of dignity. When you have a governor who was unknown, who turned down on his people, if you turn down on your people, God will turn down on you.
The campaign team was also at the palace of the Oba of Benin to seek royal blessing.
I want to reiterate and re-emphasize that our 3 prayer points in the palace by logical extension means that the Benin throne is non-partisan. We must be father to everybody.
In Benin, Ogochukwu Ona, NTA News.
That was the APC mega rally to officially flag off its campaign. And still in politics, the All Progressives Congress, the presidency has responded to the allegations by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, against the APC governorship candidate for the September 19 election. Ruth Agwele has more on that.
The presidency has responded to the allegations by the People's Democratic Party on the candidate of the APC, Pastor Osage Izayamu, for the Edo governorship election. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says the People's Democratic Party, which has been struggling to clear its name from alleged deals with the underworld in Dubai and the United States, has no voice to attack the anti-corruption war of the Buhari's administration, following the president's endorsement of Pastor Osage Izayamu of the All Progressives Congress for the governorship election in Edo State. It further adds that the PDP has forgotten its own history and antecedents, following a statement by the PDP, and I quote, "The president ought to have been aware that the candidate is standing trial for corruption," end of quote, and then went on to attack the government's war against corruption, alleging its failure. The presidency said, let PDP first withdraw the governorship nominations it gave to Ahmadu Fintiri and Bala Mohammed of Adamawa and Bauchi states respectively, before lashing out on the efforts of this administration in fighting corruption, as both PDP governors were actually on bail from criminal trial on several counts of fraud and embezzlement. On July 1st, 2016, the former acting governor of Adamawa State, Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri, was granted bail by the Federal High Court, Abuja. He was charged on June 30, 2016, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, alongside his company, Mayim Construction and Properties Limited, on a 5-count charge of money laundering to the tune of 2.9 billion naira. Also, in the case of Bala Mohammed, the governor of Bauchi State, on May 10, 2017, was arraigned before the Federal Capital Territory High Court, sitting in Gudu, Abuja, on a 6-count charge bordering on abuse of office, false declaration of assets, and fraud to the tune of 864 million naira. According to the PDP, the presidency says Pastor Ize Yamo is being persecuted by the EFCC alongside Lucky Maswen, former deputy governor of Edo State, Chief Dan Obi, PDP chairman in Edo State, and other leaders of the party in the state, Tony Azigbemi and Efe Erimwoge. Under the country's law, the statement emphasized only the courts can convict. A suspect remains a suspect until conviction. But if, in the view of the PDP, a suspect is guilty as charged, then they must show examples by withdrawing the nomination of their governors and the party's numerous senators and other legislators standing trial in various courts of the country. This cleanup drive by President Buhari's administration, it added, will only speed up with the ongoing investigations and trials. The current administration's cleansing exercise of the government, politics and economy in line with the zero tolerance for corruption will not be distracted.
The national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has described the recent actions of the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, as an assault on the constitutional democracy and the rule of law. He was reacting to the recent political events in Edo State. Olabode Arewa tells us more about it.
Describing the legislature as an important arm of government, which should be accorded its rightful place in the scheme of things, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu said Governor Obaseki's refusal to inaugurate 2/3 of the elected members of the Edo State House of Assembly amounted to a rape on democracy that is capable of escalating violence in the state. Tinubu accused Governor Obaseki of sponsoring hoodlums to destroy parts of the House of Assembly building in Benin, spending public funds to defeat the will of the public. This, Tinubu said, was a tragic, cowardly, and perverse action capable of thwarting representative democracy in Edo State because no renovation work was slated for the assembly building. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu said, by its refusal to permit duly members of the assembly to perform their constitutional duties, tells a lot about the governor's ignorance of the constitution, noting that the legislature in all democracies remain the most important symbol of democratic governance. Although the governor's conduct is undoubtedly impeachable, Tinubu said Obaseki will soon learn the cost of this grave miscalculation, as the rule of law and preservation of democracy is too important to be sacrificed at the altar of any man's ambition, adding that his woeful leadership of Edo State will hopefully be brought to an end soon by the very people whose rights he has so carelessly trampled upon. Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
While the PDP campaign chairman has reacted to the statement by the national leader of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, accusing Governor Obaseki of committing treasonable offenses in the state. Chief Dan Obi says the constitution is clear on steps to take by the executive and legislative arms when a lawmaker's seat is vacant for 180 days. He appealed to him to allow the people of the state to make their choice The PDP campaign chairman also wants the citizens to be mindful and avoid anything or issues that will foment trouble. And still on politics, the APC Media Campaign Council in Edo governorship election says there is need to set the record straight on the event that led to the current crisis at the State Assembly and by extension the state in general. At a media conference in Benin, the party says a number of questions need answers. Ogochuka Ona reports.
Have fielded candidates for the Edo governorship election. However, the political terrain appears to be dominated by two.
And sincere apologies for that mix-up there. Moving on, the Edo People's Democratic Party PDP chairman Anthony Azigbemi is calling for the arrest and prosecution of those behind the takeover of Edo State House of Assembly complex. This was at a news briefing at the party's secretariat in Benin City. Elizabeth Omoko reports that the PDP chairman described the incident as an attempt by the All Progressives Congress, APC, to upset the democracy enjoyed by the people of Edo State. The PDP chairman frowned at the position of the Commissioner of Police and Director of State Security Services, who accepted and received the 14 newly inaugurated members in his office. Edo State governorship election is just about a month away, and since INEC lifted the ban on campaigns, the political space has been dominated by claims and competing pledges of office seekers and party platforms. The claims and recommendations from all sides have been rigorous. INEC has been alarmed enough. Ede Ago examines this unfolding political development.
14 political parties have fielded candidates for the Edo governorship election. However, the political terrain appears to be dominated by two major parties, the APC and the PDP. It is also a source of extra excitement that the two governorship candidates were opponents in the last governorship election. They have now switched parties.
I want to thank all of you.
God bless you.
The campaign has been flagged off. From Monday, we'll begin to move from local government to local government. But I want to encourage you, go back to your unit. The operation is Operation Win Your.
So the mega team which we have adopted will focus on how to improve governance. How do we use government to support our people? How do we use government to create an enabling business environment?
Political pundits observe that the campaigns have been quite engaging, though accusations and counter-accusations have arrived in loads from both sides. Then recently, the issues around the legislature, where the deputy speaker endorsed the APC governorship candidate. 4 others followed, and subsequently the deputy speaker was impeached. A jigsaw event followed by protests, and ultimately the two parties appealing for peace from their supporters. The political environment in Edo State has also been heated enough to attract the attention of the INEC, the umpire showing signs of unease.
Anybody who thinks that he can influence the people's choice on election day through violence is wasting his time.
Even though the election is fairly close, there is still time to re-engineer the political environment, to recondition the candidates and their platforms towards free and fair election, which do honor to nation's democracy. What can be done to ensure there is peace before, during, and after elections to turn the tide? Ede Ago, NTA Benin.
To discuss more on the unfolding incidents in the political scene in the state, I have here with me Head of Department Voter Education, INEC Edo State, Timidi Wariowe. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
As an umpire in the forthcoming election, how do you read the prevailing political environment in the state?
Yes, the recent developments, especially the developments in the State House of Assembly, um, we're all concerned, we're all bothered about the developments in the state. And the commission, any moment from now, specifically on the 17th of August, upper week Monday, the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, will be in the state to hold a stakeholders meeting where we are going to discuss with major political actors on how we are going to conduct free, fair, and credible elections in Edo State. We don't want this process to be truncated. We don't want the election to be, to be marred by violence. We want to conduct a very peaceful, free and fair, credible election. So that is the position of the Commission for now.
Sir, what is the greatest threat to electoral peace in Edo State, and how are you addressing it? But before we move on, sir, could you your face mask because of COVID-19? Thank you. So my next question is, what is the greatest threat to electoral peace in Edo State, and how are you addressing it?
Well, it boils down to what I've said earlier. Is for now the comments, the comments of political actors, and of course those comments sort of will elicit violence, and that is, to us, that is the greatest challenge, that the Commission is going to face. So violence, of course, is a threat to every election, it's a threat in the electoral process, and we will do as much as possible, anything within the limits of our powers, within the powers given to the Commission by the law, by the Constitution and Electoral Act. We'll do anything within our possible powers to make sure that elections are conducted free and fair.
So what are the expectations from the parties, the candidates, and their supporters before, during, and after the election for the desired outcome of the whole process?
Yes, thank you so much. We're calling on Edo-lites, major stakeholders, to rise up, to speak against some of the concerns that we have raised, especially any act that will, elicit violence, because the election will be conducted here. Whatever be the case, the winner it will come from Edo State. So all the stakeholders must speak against any act of violence, anything that will elicit violence. Of course, on the part of INEC, we'll do everything possible for us to have a free, fair, and credible election. We'll continue to engage with the stakeholders and drum it into their ears for them to know that the election, with violence, we cannot achieve anything. And of course, if we don't conduct the election in Edo State, then it's going to lead us into constitutional crisis. So it's for the benefit of everybody, all the stakeholders in Edo State, in the electoral process, the parties that are contesting in the election, and every stakeholder, to ensure that violence is limited to the barest minimum. In fact, we don't want any level, any atom of violence in the election. We want the people of Edo State to freely, in a very conducive atmosphere, to come out and vote, make their choices, and of course their choices will be protected by INEC, and we're going to have a credible process that will give us free, fair, and credible election.
Hopefully, we think. Yes, that's so. We have been speaking with the head of Department of Voter Education, INEC. And Publicity. INEC, Timidi Wariowe. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So let's take a break. When we return, Panorama continues. Please stay with us.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Audio coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Thanks for staying with the NTA. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control has recorded 453 new cases of COVID-19. The new cases are 75 in the FCT, 71 in Lagos, 53 in Benue, 39 in Delta, 30 Borno, Enugu 25, Oyo, Plateau 24, Osun 20, Abia 19, Oyo 17, Kaduna 16, Kano 13, and Ebonyi 13 also. Others are Ogun 9, Kwara 7, Ondo 6, Gombe 3, Ekiti 2, and Akwa Ibom 1, as well as Rivers, which has also 1 case. This brings the number of confirmed cases to 46,140. Those discharged are 33,044, while 942 deaths have been recorded. In our earlier report, we told you that the APC Media Campaign Council in Edo governorship election says there is need to set the record straight on the events that led to the current crisis at the State Assembly and by extension, the state in general. At a media conference in Benin, the party says a number of questions need answers. Ogochukwuka Ona reports.
The party says it is worried about the matters at hand, saying they are pressing and require an urgent and comprehensive attention of the press, people of Edo State and the country. The conference, tagged Governor Baseki and the Edo State House of Assembly, lest we forget, was presided over by the Vice Chairman of the party's campaign council, Patrick Obayagbo.
It was the governor's penchant for jackboot democracy and political intimidation rather than moral suasion and political engagement that got us to where we are just now on the Edo State House of Assembly matter.
He says it is pertinent to ask a number of questions.
It must be said that Governor Baseki even adding this act to the reconciliation efforts made by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This was the height of arrogance and his anti-party disposition. At all points in time, the governor found ways, both uncooperative and evasive, to resist the attempts at reconciliation and thus elongate the life of the crisis.
The legislative arm, he adds, is a branch of government with a constitutionally protected independence from external interference or pressure under the principles of separation of powers. Anything contrary, he adds, amounts to executive recklessness.
We call on the police to conduct a transparent investigation on who were their sponsors and prosecute all those arrested and make sure the full weight of the law is brought to bear on those arrested and their sponsors, no matter how highly placed they may be.
He says the counsel to the governor is for him to allow the will of the people prevail. In Benin, Ogochukwuka Ona, NTA News.
And away from politics, why families and communities across the country attempt to adjust to the new reality occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic. Some organizations are still stepping in to make life easier for those affected by providing some form of material as succor and support. Chaji reports that a new governmental organization distributed relief materials to about 1,000 households in a community in Lugbe as palliatives to help cushion the effect of the prevailing economic crunch.
Food, one of the basic necessities of mankind. Insufficiency is believed to have a gross effect on society, and that is why the Esperanza Mama Foundation is visiting one of the communities in the suburbs of the FCT to share food items. The distribution centered mostly on families with elderly folks, the physically challenged and the easily identifiable indigent families in the community.
I have family here. I have a 3-child here with me and my wife, 1. I'm living here for more than 15 years in garage here. I feel fine as I get this relief. We thank God, we thank them because they bring a good things for us.
The organization says this gesture will help cushion the effect of lack of access to basic food items, as well as help cope hunger-related crime issues in the society.
When the people are fed, crime reduces. We have come out now to, make the people happy.
So our objective is to make sure that these issues of hunger is addressed. It can't be done by government alone. We invite the larger society, individuals, like I said, corporate organizations, partners, donor agencies. We need them, to support us.
The Esperanza Mama Foundation also hopes to feed about 1,000 vulnerable persons every day through its free feeding project. In Abuja, Shaji, NTA News.
That's it from On Panorama today. Thank you very much for watching. Good afternoon.